Hey guys, welcome back to Let's Get Coffee podcast here at Crest. My name is Jeremy Vanderloop. I'm your host, sitting here with a good friend, one of my favorite people that I love to hang out with and that I love to just see here in the space. And we have a lot of fun conversations. My good friend Anibal. Sometimes you go by David as well.
Depending on the individuals in front of me and
Okay.
their skin color.
We're going to go there real fast.
I mean, you're the one that brought it up.
Well, I was actually going to ask you.
Have you never noticed?
Why would you go through? No. Sometimes people call you David. Some people call you Anibal. Some people call you something else.
So depending on where I'm at.
I've heard like all sorts of different ways of
depending on where I'm at, and I hear my name is dependently attitude.
Oh,
I'm
really?
give them back.
Oh.
So that's all dependent. But I used to work in corporate banking.
Yeah.
And it's very difficult for a lot of the Northerners and a lot of Midwesterns to actually get Anibal, which is like the Spanish version of my name is Anibal. And so it was just much easier just to do David. And eventually, if they were a long-term client, they would get to the point to where it's like, okay, I can say your name now, or I don't feel bad saying it wrong. And so it would be a transition onto that part.
I've heard like Anibal before.
Yes.
I've heard that, and I said, that seems like Anibal the Cannibal.
Yes.
You know, it rhymes. I was like, I'm going to call him that. That's not it's not his right name.
Super offensive.
It is really offensive. I
it
apologize for offending you.
No, it's fine. I expect it from you.
And this is why we have fun, as I know I didn't offend you. But I've heard people's call. I mean, what's been the craziest way that people have butchered your name?
Anibal.
Anibal?
Anibal. Like there's literally like a bowl.
Like you just
like
eat out of it.
B-O-W-L.
Yeah. Anibal.
I've seen that and Enable. The best ones were when I was in high school, like the first day of school, and like the teacher would be like "Where's Annabelle?" and like thinking it's gonna be a girl, and I'm like, and my deepest web, I'm right here, and like it would be so much fun.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So that's the podcast right there. We just talked about your name. It's fantastic.
Perfect. That's perfectly fine. Thank you for the introduction. That was great. I will pay you later.
Thank you
for that warm introduction.
Yeah. You're welcome. Now, because we kind of go back a little ways. You know, I met you through our dear friend. He goes by Chaz now. I can't ever call him Chaz.
I can't call him Chaz.
Like, bro, did you pick your name, Chaz? He's like, I did. It's his nickname. I was like, all right, we're gonna go with it.
I'm never calling him that.
No, I call him Charlie for sure. Still do. No one else does.
For the amount of things that that man put me through.
Yeah.
In the early 2000s.
Oh, it was fun. Like, he's absolutely crazy. What's up with these lights behind there? Did you do this?
Are we on 80?
I love the color. I'm just saying.
ADHD, Jesus. Let's focus.
Yeah, I am focused, but I just focused on these lights behind you. It's fascinating. Back to Charlie. Yeah.
This is going to be a long podcast. I don't know why you even asked me. Oh, wait, you didn't ask me. You needed someone, and you automatically pulled me from.
We did. Well, we've been trying for a couple weeks now.
For what?
Like a month to try to get you on this thing.
I was never told this.
Well, you always had like some snarky, I'm not dressed for it right now, or I'm not this, I'm not that. It's like, sooner or later, he's going to just say yes, and we're going to go for it.
So your assistant, or whatever in the hierarchy of
who was it?
Your org chart, which
How
I would
much
love
did they
to see
pay you?
Org chart.
How much did they pay
He's
you?
like, Anibal, they really need someone today.
Dude.
And I was like, I'm not going to do it. He's like, come on. We really need someone.
That's
like,
awesome.
I did not shave today. I don't got no gel in my hair.
The hat looks dope.
You got to let a girl like a few hours to figure this stuff out. Like clean up a little.
Yeah. So we're gonna jump in though. So tell us about yourself. What do you do? Who are you? What's your background? Where are you from? What industry are you in?
Please. So I have been in the finance world since 7th grade. Really.
How?
I started my first business when I was in 7th grade.
Doing what?
So the main hustle was candy bars.
Okay.
And
I can get onto this.
And then from there it went to, and from there it grew to making change.
I want to pause for a second. Now, when you say candy bars, like, was this like you in middle school, put them in your bag and you got all sorts of kinds, or was this like the world's greatest candy bar? Like sales that you would do, like where like sell for like $1.
No. So one, I don't believe in book bags, and so at a very young age, instead of having a lunchbox, I had a briefcase. So I took my grandfather's briefcase when I was in elementary school, and that's what I used as a lunchbox. And then that transitioned into middle school, and of course,
That's awesome.
big Hispanic guy, so I've always been big. So no one's gonna say anything to me. So so I started like I think I had a candy bar for something, and someone bought it for like $1.
Oh my!
And I was like, oh, I can just go to Sam when Mom goes to Sam's. I'll just buy a box of
candy. That's very
bunch of candy.
entrepreneurial, man.
That became a 2-year operation to the point to where I was giving money to my bus driver to allow me to bring a cooler onto the bus, so then I could sell candy, sodas, and other items during like transfer and do everything else.
Figuratively speaking, because we knew we paid taxes on this. What kind of revenue did you create in middle school off of selling candy bars? And then you scaled it into multiple product SKUs.
I had 3 people selling for me.
Oh, great. So you scaled with a team.
3 different buses.
That's okay.
And again, I had...
Please tell me you went to another school, too, and did it.
So it was 2 middle schools.
Yes! Yes! Someone learned to scale at 12.
So...
Sorry, I just screamed in the mic.
So then... I was graduating middle school, and I was like, I cannot do this into high school. It doesn't make any sense.
So you hustled the other little middle schoolers to keep it going, right?
I didn't know that I could franchise at the time, and that
so
I could scale it to that point. So I just stopped.
Yeah.
But I actually paid for my first mission trip doing that, and that was to Europe and like the Eastern Bloc.
So
for about 2 months.
Annualized, what do you think you generated the first and second year of that?
The first year, it paid for me and my sister to go to camp, and it paid for like other stuff. Because at that time, that's if you're 12, like that's how you rationalize things. Like, okay, I want to go to church camp. I don't want to have my parents pay for it, so like let's just go ourselves.
Okay.
So we went to the church camp, which was probably a few $100s, and then I paid for my sister and I to go to this is horrible. Go to the American church camp, which was like double the cost.
Oh wow.
You guys are not frugal at
now,
all.
For those that don't know, church camp is what people who are in the Christian faith. They go in the summertime. They get a bunch of kids together, right?
Yes.
From a bunch of different organizations and churches, and they all come together for like a week, where they stay on the grounds, right? And these different things happen. And they're pretty big things now, like out in the Midwest, and it's just a fact because not everyone on here is from like a church background.
You would say it would be like your summer retreat almost, I could say. So it would be a week or 2 weeks, depending on what kind of church you go to and the cost. And you just go do that. Normally it has some kind of mission work involved in it, or you're doing service work the whole time. So we did that. So like all of June and like half of July would be something like that. So that for those first 2 years when I was in 7th and 8th grade, I paid for my sister.
Just put a number on it. What do you think?
I'm not putting a number. This is recorded. I'm not doing
this.
this.
Well, I'm going to put a number on it.
I'm not going to put okay, I'll say this. I paid for the camps for 2 years for my sister and I paid for mission trips for myself in Europe twice.
It's $1,000 a month.
Yeah, because Europe was like...
Yeah.
Europe was pretty expensive.
Like $24,000 you created. Yeah. Something right around there. That's awesome. It's fast. You didn't say it. I said it. I'm just guessing.
I have no idea what
based off of what you're talking about. No, that's your responses are always that way. It's funny. Like I don't know what we're talking about, but I don't. No,
I work in finance.
Yeah, you work in finance,
and I help people with their financial dilemmas.
Yeah, I understand.
Since I left the corporate world.
I understand. All right, so moving past middle school because I had no. So you were in. So that's how you said you were in finance.
Yeah.
How does that correspond to? Because that sounds very entrepreneurial, like you're selling candy bars.
So the side business from that was making change.
Okay.
And so someone needed 20, like break a 20 or someone that became, so I was like doing an exchange.
Okay. And what was the percentage you would charge on the exchange rate?
2%.
2%. All right. So per dollar, it was 2 cents.
Yeah. I didn't think of it. I just knew I needed to charge something so that there would be a cost.
And so every 10 cents or every $10, it was 20 cents.
No, then it was 25 cents. It's 25.
2.5%.
Yeah, 2.5%.
So it's 25 cents per 10. And they would just pay it.
They would pay it.
Here's a quarter.
Yeah. They needed to break the change anyways because they were going for a vending machine.
Oh, that's pretty smart. How'd you come up with that?
It was a need because I was already making change with the items that I was selling off of the...
Yeah, you created solutions for pain points.
So people needed that additional because they wanted to get soda. I couldn't bring the cooler into the school. So again, this is the reason why I paid the bus driver to allow me to keep the cooler on the bus so that I wouldn't have to transport it on into school property. Because then I would get in trouble.
One of the wildest stories we've had so far. Nate, how do you negotiate a grown, like an adult? Like, how much did you pay them off to keep that cooler on there?
I think it's like $100 a month.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. What was their name?
I'm not saying.
Because that's pretty awesome.
She was really cool. She was very chill. We had, because I went to a magnet school. So we were getting bused from the suburbs into the inner city.
Yeah.
And so because of that, we had one bus for the entire morning.
Dude, so you figured this out. You figured out at 12 years old, roughly, right? Be like, so all you were doing, so out the gate, you're like, there's a pain position in life that I can create a solution for other people.
Yes.
And I need to grow this and scale this. I'm going to have 3 people. And how much did you pay your employees?
So they took a percentage of sales.
Okay, so it was straight up a sales job.
Yeah, I didn't have to, and they were able to take a percentage of consumption for themselves. So if they wanted like candy for themselves, then they could just take that. But it would be included in their percentage.
So you'd have inventory.
Yes, and I would count that religiously.
Yeah. Everybody steal from you?
No.
Oh,
it
good.
Was surprised. My commission was pretty high for them, so there was no incentive to steal. Because also they brought it back to me, and then so I could.
Isn't this funny?
I could do
They're in middle school, right? Middle school.
I could do a reconcile at the end of the day as I'm getting driven back home.
So you started doing exchange rates at 13, basically. Fast forward, you're out of high school.
Out of high school.
Now, what are you doing in life? Like, what do you like? Just like what now? So you go to college. You have side jobs in college companies and doing that. You selling candy bars in college. You just kind of elevate up to some other. Resource.
So I went really big into the Boys and Girls Club.
Okay.
I was working with them, volunteer, Youth of the Year at the Boys and Girls Club in Jackson Springs. Went to the ceremony. Of course, wasn't going to get it because my family's not poor. Yeah. So that's really what the catch was. The poorer you are, the bigger store you have, the more likely you are going to win. And I was fine with that. It wasn't necessary for me to win the scholarships. If anything, that helped me when I went to college, because I was able to use those experiences to be able to pull for scholarships and be able to go that way. And then I worked during college because I didn't want to owe anything when I didn't understand the concept of like having to pay to go to college. It didn't make any sense to me. I was like, you're telling me I'm doing English again when I was doing English for free at high school, and now I'm having to pay for it. This is stupid. So I lasted 2 years at Roberts Wesley because
You got 2 years of college under your belt.
A little bit less than 2 years of college because I had an opportunity to actually open a men's barbershop and spa in Hillsborough County. And the moment that opportunity took, I left.
Like you have franchise opportunity, you're an operator, you owned it, or what?
I owned it outright. It was a concept from a men's spa in South Tampa that I was going to get my hair cut and everything else. And I was like, hey, can I franchise this up in like Van Dyke Road? And they're like, we don't want to franchise. I'm like, okay, fine. I'm just going to take the whole concept and do it anyways. And that's what I did. I did it for 2 years, a little over 2 years, because this was right before the crash of 2008. And about 2 months before the crash, 2 Filipino women came up and asked if they could buy my book of business and the business as a whole. And I said, yeah, name what. And I was like, I don't know what the valuation is. I haven't even thought about it. Just tell me what you're willing to pay for it, and I'll say yes or no. They came back with a absolutely ridiculous offer, and I said yes immediately. And then 2 months later, the market crashed.
They close?
They're closed now, yeah.
No. Did they close? Did you close the deal before the 2 month crash?
So yeah, that's what I was saying.
It was like a 30-day close or what?
It was like a 2-hour close.
Wow.
I was like, put this in, like, give me a check, I'll cash it, and you can take over immediately.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And then it shut down.
It's maybe a year and a half. It shut down.
Right? It was such a bad time.
It was rough.
So it was a good timing for you, though.
No one noticed that the crash was going.
Some people did.
A lot of people. They made movies of it.
Yeah, they did make movies. The Big Short, right? Was a movie they made.
One of my favorite movies, actually, is The Big Short.
Yeah.
Besides anything from the 80s, that particular one is one of my
favorites. I got friends that are shorting crypto right now.
Crypto, is it on?
They've made a killing.
Yeah.
Shorting the crypto market just recently.
I should have done that, honestly. I've been such an advocate to not do crypto that I should have.
You should have shorted it. It was one of my CEO buddies.
I didn't even think about it.
He's at like one of the next Crest chats. No. He's been shorting crypto. He's telling me about it.
I've purposely, and I've told people before on on other podcasts, it's like crypto is a non-functioning and I'm using quotation mark asset. There's no legitimate function when
the blockchain's pretty legitimate.
Yeah, but that's what
technology
produces. Yeah, that's the technology. That's not the actual cryptocurrency.
Now, I'm a Main Street guy, right? It's like completely illiterate, like knuckle dragger. Like, can I put my hands on it? All right, cool. I'm gonna build it. So it's like the crypto thing took a second. I got a lot of friends that got into that and did really well with it, but
If you were able to time it, it's perfectly fine. The
Yeah.
problem is the moment I saw crypto, I automatically remembered the story of the tulips and that craze in Amsterdam, where one tulip was the value of a house because it became so valuable, and it was a bubble. And because of
I'm not
that,
familiar with this. Can you share the
it
story?
was like it's like the 1700 or 1600.
Yeah,
Let's
talk about this.
It was one of the first official.
I'm so
bubble
big
crashes.
on principles and like history repeating
Yeah.
itself. So let's talk about this bubble crash of the tulip in the 1700s.
So I'm going to say 17. It's not. It's probably not. It's probably even before then. But I know for a fact it was in Amsterdam. One of the first
Tulips, they die.
One of the first real market. Oh my God, that's why it was ridiculous. It was absolutely ridiculous. The value of a tulip got so large that one tulip was worth the property of a house. And so because of that, it built up so much that of course it was going to crash. And it was one of that got rid of the West India Company. I don't know the main history of it, but I know that was one of the first actual like crashes in a capitalist market.
Okay.
And because of that knowing that history, I know that when something is too good to be true, or Warren Buffett says it's too good to be true, then it's probably too good to be true. And if Warren Buffett's not going to invest in it, then why am I going to invest in it?
Yeah, I mean, yeah. If you don't understand it, don't do it. That's kind of one of my rules, right?
Yeah.
If I can't kind of understand or grasp the idea behind the investment, just stick to what you know.
Yeah.
And stick to your fundamentals of what you know.
Also, it was a self-fulfilling prophecy. You have something that's evaluated that has a limited to that value. At least with gold, we could literally mine more gold.
Yeah.
Get more of it. But then gold also is a conductor for energy, and it's conductor for heat, and it can do other things. Silver has other things. Crypto has no other service than however much you're willing to pay for it. And that's where the market turned into. People wanted to use it to buy other
What do you think of like NFTs and those type of things?
Again, another useless tool when we had too much money in the market. People are spending ridiculous amounts of money on these items that don't have any intrinsic value.
I mean, like there's a lot of people that swear by NFTs right now, that swear by crypto. And I mean, I'd like to get you and somebody else. Like,
oh, it'd be great.
It'd be to hear you guys talk about it.
I enjoy conversations like this. And not to make them feel bad or anything else, but at the moment, I mean, to the moon, $1 million for a cryptocurrency. This is my biggest problem. You're not talking about one cryptocurrency. There is a basket of cryptocurrencies that are generated by individuals that are probably not doing anything to back it up also. So at least with like the markets of currency, you have the country's
backed by
economy.
the US government and the economy.
But I'm saying like with the US dollar, it's backed by the economy. If I'm going for a peso, it's going to be backed by the chrono. Like it has some kind of valuation behind it.
There's the talk right now that there's certain countries that are actually trying to pursue getting back on the gold standard.
It's a waste of time.
What do you think
The
of that?
reason why we got off the gold standard is because at the end of the day, you cannot have that much gold to be able to evaluate into currency. The markets,
Because
economies
it
of
became
scale are too
deadism
much.
over capitalism, right? And like the 70s that
yeah.
we did that.
Well, we did it with Reagan. No, Nixon. Nixon was the one that cut it off, and it's because
and then they tied it to the petrodollar.
And it's because
sorry to overtalk you.
That's fine. Yeah. It's fine. I'm just a guest, and so
sure. Sometimes.
I feel it. It's fine.
Sometimes.
We're family.
You're family here. Yeah.
It's all right.
I don't think we had any guests on this show. We're all just one family.
That's what he says to everyone. Anyways, so you have some countries that are trying to get back to the gold standard, and that's because their economy at scale is not working anymore. Could you imagine having $26 to $30 trillion in gold to be able to function?
Doesn't work.
No, the U.S. economy wouldn't be able to function properly. We needed that kind of, honestly, manipulation of the markets to ensure that we were able to continue to flow and continue to pay bills. And so if you think the U.S. market is going to, for the U.S. market, I tell people all the time, for the U.S. market and the currency to completely collapse, the world has collapsed. The world would have to collapse. And that would be the only reason that the U.S. would collapse in regards to that. Because there's no scenario right now where the dollar, because right now the dollar is the number one
What's the
currency.
scenario where the world collapses?
Some form of nuclear holocaust of some kind.
Another world war?
Not even another war. It would be an all-out nuclear war. That would cripple the world's economies and everything else. The beauty of the U.S. economy is only 12% of our GDP is connected to global trade. And of that 12%, half of that is Mexico and Canada. We are one of the least globally trading countries in the world. And we did it on purpose because we didn't need...
Wait, why are you breaking my couch, Don?
I was making a really good point.
Just kidding. Just kidding.
So like the majority of our GDP in the country is generated by internal use and trade and everything else.
Gotcha.
And so, and we did it on purpose because we were fighting the commies in the 80s and the early 70s and 80s. And so now that we don't have the communists to fight with anymore, we've just been kind of using the system that we built for other countries so they're able to play nice, because that's not how the world worked 100 years ago. If Britain wanted to do something with copper, they would go colonize a country in Africa, and that's where they get their copper, and they would only trade with other colonies of Britain and maybe an ally or two. Or Russia or Prussia at the time, if they wanted cotton, they would go to somewhere in Asia and they would conquer it, and that's where they would use it. Now, a company in Nigeria can have some form of agriculture connections with Argentina, and there's no fear that that's going to be a problem, because the U.S. dollar is what's being used for the currency exchanges, and it's the U.S. Navy and military using to ensure that the waterways are secure. So now we're starting to be like, yeah, we're kind of done with all this. We don't want to do globalization anymore. So good luck for you guys.
Is that the pulse you're thinking? You think the U.S. is pulling back on globalization?
I think so. I think that's where the world is going. I think that's where the U.S. wants to. The U.S.
Because
doesn't want to deal with it
globalist is a really real. I mean, that's a real thing. Like there are people that are still heavy on the globalist agenda. It's got to be a hybrid between a nationalism and globalism. You do have to play well with others, and you do have to trade.
Why?
Yeah, well, I guess you don't have to, but I would assume that's what allows the world to run the way it does now.
The world, yes, but the U.S. doesn't want to play this game anymore.
Yeah.
So what happens when the U.S. pulls out and pulls back all of its military assets and starts not caring what's happening around the world? Because that's what's happening to the U.S. population. They don't want to be involved anymore. They don't want to deal with wars that last 20 years. They don't want to deal with conflicts that are happening around the world, which I think is a bad idea. We're in a position.
It absolutely is a bad idea.
I know. I tell people all the time, do one missionary trip around the world, somewhere around outside the United States, and you will open your eyes immediately to how much the world is in need and how much damage occurs when we stop doing what we're doing.
If you're a leader of any kind, leader in this is from organizations, from governments, from individuals, you have a fiduciary responsibility internally with your character and your integrity to take care and to be a good leader, to take care of those that are less than or less fortunate.
Correct.
Right? If you don't do that, the other form of a leader is a dictator.
Yeah.
And then they take control and take power. And so if one person who is good just draws back and does nothing, the evil is going to be there to take in that recoil.
Correct.
They're going to.
We've seen this happen already. It's happened twice now, where the U.S. has been like, you know what? We're going to focus on isolationism. We're not going to focus on the rest of the world. It doesn't work. And then you have a Hitler. And
that's what I'm saying.
And that's what happens. But again, people forget this. The American people forget.
It's selfishness.
American politicians forget how much of this. So they just focus on internal issues, which aren't really internal issues. They're just the buzzwords of the day. And we're going to focus on making sure that there are more than 2 gender bathrooms at Target, or we're going to focus on what's going on with I don't know, men and women's sports, instead of us really focusing on the crap that's occurring in Haiti, or the collapse of the government in Sri Lanka, or the military junta in Myanmar. Like, these are the things that are happening around the world, and we're not focusing on that because we're focusing on things that are very petty. And that's what happened in the 30s, that we just didn't care about what was happening around the world.
We had a lot going on in the 30s.
We did. But at the end of the day, what's happening here is nowhere compared to what's going to happen around the world.
But think about like what happened in the 30s. It was the collapse from the 20s, right? Another bubble. Great Depression. We wouldn't even want to get into the war.
No, we had to be pulled in.
We had to be pushed in. Straight up, like pushed in, kicked and screaming.
We had to get a bloody nose.
That's what I'm saying.
Like, what happened in
Pearl
Hawaii
Harbor,
was definitely a bloody nose that we were not expecting. But people knew that it was coming.
And Hitler was so mad at the Japanese.
Hitler didn't want the Japanese to do it.
No, he was like, "Are you kidding me? You just poked the bear. You literally just poked the guy, the one thing." And it's fast. I love history. It sounds like you love history, and you're obviously extremely liberal. I'm just kidding. So you come from more of like a conservative background. And
as I clutch my pearls, I have never been so offended in my life.
That was the joke. That was the joke.
Evidently, for some Republicans, I'm considered a communist and a
Really?
liberal. Oh my
wow.
gosh!
You know, so on this podcast so far, we've had some pretty fun people in here. I mean, we had a conservative Marxist on here.
Oh, Dr. Leo.
Yeah, it was awesome.
I've had him on my podcast.
We
as
had
well.
a great. I mean,
so
it
much
actually
fun.
ended up being
So much
2
fun.
episodes. And we've just it's been a lot of fun. Now we have because you are really into world affairs.
I am definitely a geopolitical,
Yeah,
poli sci kind of person.
yeah. And you and Donna actually, I haven't seen this Donna in a while. Have you kept up with her?
A little bit. She has been focusing on like voter integrity and things like that in the West.
Because she's really pushing for the nonpartisan stuff, right?
I understand why that
Yeah.
is, and I agree with her position on that. However, and I tell this, and I'll say this now.
I want to have her on this podcast. too.
She's so much fun. She's
I love
so
her.
much fun. The problem is though, now that
Excuse me,
I
this
say
cough
this,
is
I say
awful.
this to the Republican Party and to people that are pushing for an independent party. I'm like, only now are Hispanics getting into politics of like actually becoming in leadership and getting into like becoming like positions of power. And now all you white people want a third party. It's absolutely ridiculous. So,
Well, I don't know enough about it to have an opinion. I'll be honest with you. I honestly like keep out of it as much as I can.
I enjoy politics.
I just keep my head to the ground. I'm a local guy. I've got friends that are really into politics. They're politicians and DC, all this stuff. But again, I love people, love community. How do we engage locally, and then how do we engage? And that's the heartbeat. How do you engage locally? How do you engage statewide, nationally, and globally?
Well, you know this, like
it's all the same principles. It's just
politics
different
is
applications.
politics is local,
Hands down, it's
completely local. And I tell people all the time, I could care less. Honestly, I could care less who the president is and who my senator kind of is.
I care more about who my city council.
My
is.
city council, which actually, City of Tampa is going to be having their municipality elections come.
We got a hearing on the 14th or 15th. Hopefully, it goes well.
Oh, are you going to the talking politics? Are you going to the Casper fundraiser on Thursday?
Did you get me an invite?
I actually do. I have an extra invite, so
I'll
I'll
go,
send
yeah.
you. I'll send it to you. It's a blanket one, but you had to be on the email chain to know that it's here. It's gonna be at. It's gonna be here. It's gonna be at.
It's a Stovall, right?
No, Oxford.
Oxford.
Do you think that they would have an open invite to this?
No.
That's
I
not
like.
happening.
Have you been to Stovall?
Yes.
Stovall's so cool.
I feel so Caucasian when I walk into there.
Do you?
Oh,
Yeah.
completely.
How's that feel?
It feels like my credit rate has increased.
Really?
By at least 30 points.
Yeah, every time you walk
Every
in.
time I walk in.
Dude, I bought the most random thing. So this dude, he's becoming a new friend, and he's kind of a cool guy. But I bought a ping pong table yesterday
Really?
from a guy who like lives right behind there, and it's a concrete ping pong table. Super cool. It broke as soon as I got it home. So I texted dude some videos. I was like, "Yo, this thing broke," and he was like mortified. I was like, "Oh, we're trying to figure it out," you know. But it's just I was gonna bring it here to Crest, but it's in my backyard.
Yeah, broken.
No, it works. It
Now it's
actually
going to
works.
fit perfectly in Crest if it's broken. That's fine.
No, what's that supposed to mean? Nothing breaks around here.
Nothing breaks around here?
I don't know what breaks around here. I need to know those things.
I was told that like our whole network almost fell off the wall. a few
That's
days
because
ago.
my brother.
You know what?
My brother decided.
Don't put that man on
No,
blast.
he'll tell you.
I was willing to at least leave names out. This is the thing. You do not talk gossip as much as I do.
I don't gossip at all. I go straight to the point.
Okay, whose fault is it then?
Daniel's,
That's
for sure.
Why are you calling people like that?
Because he'll admit it.
You know what?
So we're sitting in our meeting yesterday, trying to do it's like gearing up. It's the first of the month. All this stuff's going on. He goes, yo, so I tripped, and my head hit the network rack. And the entire rack fell out of the wall. And I'm sitting there, I'm holding up, but I just go, help. And one of our members, Ben, had to rush over and help him. And I was so irritated because I was like, this was not on the agenda today for you to rip out. Oh my gosh. You ripped out a 7-figure network out of the wall. This place is built on our network of technology. It's a whole smart building. You just ripped out our brain. What is wrong with this? I didn't realize how bad it was.
Name dropped him. So
of course I do. I name drop all of us.
No, that's not cool.
It's no big deal. No one's safe.
No one's safe.
Name
what?
dropping from the music
if
industry.
something happens with me in front of me, I'm not going to say any names. I'll use hyperboles. I'll use code
That's
names.
why I can never do politics.
Oh.
People would be like, yo, what do you think of this? I'll straight up think this. And they would go, oh, man, that might have worked in like 2016, but not anymore. You know? And it's just, I think that's why Trump was so popular. It's because he was that way.
Trump was great when it came to that, and such a fresh
I'm so sorry for
air
coughing
and
like that.
it's fine. We'll all get
This
corona
stuff's horrible.
later.
What? We've had this for like 4 weeks, and the cough just won't go away.
Can you just get like a cough drop?
I got this. I got
That's
water. It helps.
Can you take some water?
Yes, I can drink some. Yes.
Well, why you drink water?
By the way, we're going to sell some water here. This water comes from a water fountain that you can get only at Crest through Crest's water fountain or any other water fountain that's filtered well.
This is why we're not making our quotas. Okay, so the reason why I'll never be
one of the funniest ones we've done. Yeah.
the reason why I will never be I will never have a political position unless it's given to me, or I pay for it, which is what I plan to do when I get into my 50s. I want to
just buy.
I want an ambassadorship, and so for you to get an ambassadorship, it costs about $500,000 to.
So you can be an ambassador for the nation.
You can be an ambassador to another country.
Oh.
So like I want some small like Caribbean country or like small like coastal African.
So
country.
this isn't really like a heart of service per se. This is more like, hey, how do I retire with a title?
What are you talking about? Again, and clutching the pearls, all this accusations.
It's not an accusation. It's just an observation.
If you look at the
of
list,
information.
if you look at the list of ambassadors, almost 90% of them paid for their ambassadorship.
Oh man, see,
The
you're
other
teaching me all sorts of stuff I've
The other
never
10%,
learned.
like Germany, like we need an actual person that's going to be like understanding what is happening in Germany.
Would
and
you
China.
be an ambassador to North Korea right now?
We have one. No. Because I would honestly, I'd probably become good friends with Kim Jong-un.
No, don't say that.
I probably would be. Because again, I'm not going to judge him.
What
for
do you
what's going
What do
on.
you think? Well, I don't know. I might judge his actions.
I'm going to judge the actions, but I'm not going to judge the individual.
Kill so many people.
Yeah, so did Hitler.
Exactly. Yeah, great example.
Yeah,
Great
but the goal
example.
is not to be the one in the room that judges the individual when you're in a political situation like that.
I understand what you're saying.
The
but
goal is to
people
build that
watching
kind of relationship.
probably won't understand that, so you may want to explain yourself.
I'm not going to. And so because of that, you need to be able to have a larger conversation. That's
Enable
why
everyone.
the beauty of all this is that only 12 people are going to watch this. So at the end of the day, I'm not that concerned.
I think 2 maybe. We
Look at that.
We just released this podcast today. The first episode released today. We pre-record these and then release them.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this won't even go out for a few months.
Yeah. So you probably have more than 2 people.
Okay.
In a couple months, hopefully there'll be some traction. And so,
I doubt it.
To our 12
so-
watchers and listeners,
Anyways,
appreciate you.
The reason, so I will never get into politics unless I actually purchase myself into an ambassadorship or like someone like gives me.
I
a
am so
position
off
of
track
politics.
right now.
Oh, I know. This is fine.
See, I told you this is fun, right?
Dealing with but it's like dealing with a 12-year-old trying to figure out what's going on.
Well, I'll take that.
Anyways,
In
back
a
to the point.
non-offensive way.
It was purposely offensive.
Okay.
And so
As long as I'm like a 12-year-old like you, who just like sells and does business at 12, I can take that in a heartbeat.
I'm never telling you that story ever.
I love that you already told it once. I will always remember it.
Don't make comments like don't bring it up.
All right.
Anyways,
so
wait.
back. Hold on.
Wait,
Back.
I want to finish the political thing. So, have you watched The Expanse?
Mm-mm.
It's a sci-fi world building TV show. And so the woman that's in charge, that becomes the head of the UN, which is the global organization for the world, someone asks her before she ascends to her position, is like, why do you never want to be a part?
Sorry, we got to give like a you saw me look down. I was like, oh man. So,
Anyways, wait,
little preface while we're laughing. Me and Anibal decided to get lunch right before this podcast.
Jeremy kidnapped me and someone else to get lunch.
I
and
thought I
then
paid for it,
tried
too.
to negotiate where we were going to go.
I did pay for it.
I offered. And well, first of all, you're writing it off as a business expense, so let's all calm down when it comes
Is that
to
what, like 15% that I saved?
Hey,
Savings is
15%,
savings, right?
savings.
So no, you're right. No, and it's not even that. It's like 7.5% now because it's food. Meals and entertainment, right? It's 50%.
Yeah, it's 50%.
Yeah.
Anyways,
Could be member relations.
It
It's
could be.
100%.
That's 100%.
That's how that works.
so what occurred is that we had lunch. We had a very big lunch. It was very good. Jeremy
So
wanted
good.
something else, but I thought we
The steak was good.
The steak was very good.
It was good.
And so now we are nice and full.
I like
someone's
that.
shirt.
My shirt keeps, I like open it up, and my wife gave me these white undershirts that I
Your
haven't
shirt
worn.
has an opinion.
It has an opinion. Yeah, guys. Believe it or not, we're striking goals. So I lost 7 pounds
lost
last
7
month, man. I'm
pounds.
pretty pumped.
I don't see it, but that's great.
I love it. I feel it. You don't have to see it.
You know what? That's good
I
for
see
you,
it.
Jeremy. That's good for you.
I see it and I
That's
feel
good.
it and I feel good.
That's all that matters.
We're going
That's
for it.
all that matters.
You know what I call it? I always make the joke that it's called like the fat ninja. Right? So you get married. Doesn't matter how big you are when you get married. You get married. You're pretty fit, right? You're getting married. I'm. This is what it is. And then out of nowhere, within a year, 2 years, the fat ninja just hits you right in the face, and it just boom, 30 pounds. And your wife's stuck. She's just stuck with the fat ninja strike, and you just go, "What are we gonna do?" And you just try to figure this out. And I always call it the fat ninja. I was like, "Honey, you got struck by the fat ninja, and I am so sorry."
Tell your wife about the fat ninja.
Yeah, because she didn't get hit by the fat ninja.
Oh,
I
okay,
did.
okay,
I
okay,
did.
okay.
No,
Say,
no.
Lord almighty.
I'll actually mess with my wife. She'd be like, "Hey, what do you think of this? This is like getting a little tubby there." And it's the farthest thing from the truth for my whole life. And she just she's married to me. She knows.
My God, you love playing with fire.
She's got some really thick skin, man, to be married to me, and it's with my personality and my sense of humor. But yes, I was like, you just stop it. That's not fair. It's not fair to everybody else that really struggles with your weight. Just stop pretending, and and it's not the nicest way to do it. But then I've realized as I've been married long enough that I've stopped doing that as much. We're coming up on 12 years of marriage.
Congratulations.
Yeah. How about you? How long have you guys been married?
5 years.
5 years.
Come this summer.
Oh man.
So we're getting up there, and so for us, it's been a struggle bus because I've always been a big guy. So that's just something that needs to be preferenced. But I know at least that if I'm going to be on camera, and I'm going to wear an open shirt, that I need to be wearing something else that's going to.
That's how we came about that.
Break up a little bit. So yeah, I know how to wrap these things around. So
yeah, and I'm just like, guys, you watch this, I'm going to lose 50 pounds this year. I'm doing it.
That's good.
I'm doing it, right?
No, I believe you.
So I did half of it, and then everything else just like when chaos struck with Brittany and the last baby pregnancy with Jed, it was just like insane to try to maintain that ritual and that process of habit. And it's so important, like as we kind of segue into different things, because we can easily go on a rant. So you are now a CPA, or no, not a CPA. You're an accountant.
I am an accountant bookkeeper.
Yeah, how do you describe what you do in today's world?
I would tell people that
because you have some really, really funny guys that come to the space.
Can we not? I'm not going there.
I love them. I love them.
Not going there.
I do love them. I think they're amazing.
I give you a heads up when they're coming. And I realized that I'm just going to stop doing that.
I love those guys.
I'm going to shuttle them into a conference room as quickly as possible.
No, they're the most colorful people.
You will hear the screaming.
I have ever... Dude, I had to negotiate that deal. That dude was getting burned. So I will not say names when it comes to stuff like this, right?
Say names,
that dude was getting burned so hard. And I was like, yo, this ain't right. You remember that?
Yes.
I brought it right up in our conference room. And I was like, yo, this is how this deal works. Pop, 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 pop. And we had like just met.
Yes. It was only a few hours, honestly.
Yeah, was that your first day here that happened?
No, that wasn't the first day.
Oh
it was like the first month.
Because like you joined when? Like April? May?
It would be April. We closed that in June.
Because you were like one of the first early adopters. You were like within like the first like 15 members.
Correct.
Yeah.
I wasn't the first 10, but I was like before the first 20.
Yeah, you were within the first. Yeah, you were right there, like, because the founders, I picked those guys in January, and we began to like, kind of process and have monthly meetings, and then like really in March is when we started like firing into like onboarding, just a soft, whisper.
Yeah.
And which is Dr. Carlos's term. I like that term. I'm gonna use that now. But then it's like, so then we met we re-engaged through Chaz.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, yo, you need to meet my buddy and our friend Anibal. We used to hang out when we were in college together.
Hang out is such a loose term.
It was a loose term. But we found out we're neighbors in Seminole Heights and all that stuff.
And it worked out. And again, and to give kudos to what you've created here, which is very difficult for me to do, this place has been something of a godsend, honestly, because it's close to where I live. It's within the neighborhood. And what I found when it came to the other work share spaces is that it was almost like a fashion show.
Gotcha.
It was like you had to be dressed to the nine, you had to be up and coming, you had to be and I'm gonna say you had to look as sexy as possible because it was a runway and it felt so uncomfortable. 'Cause I just wanted to get in and do the work.
Yeah.
I didn't want to have to deal with anyone. I didn't want to have to deal with the chaos that was occurring. And to the point to where I went to one in Hyde Park, and just by saying that you know where I'm going,
I don't, but
well, no, someone could figure it out easily.
Yeah.
I was offended how rude the staff was.
Gotcha.
I was like, bro, I'm giving you a few $100s to rent space here,
Yeah.
and you're giving me attitude like this? I'm sorry, with your skin tight jeans and your skin tight polo, this is just ridiculous. And like, I didn't want that. I didn't want that. And so all the workshop spaces I had been to in the city were just way too much of like fashion show and like popularity. I'm like, I just want to work. I don't want to deal with it. The communities, there was no community whatsoever. And when I found this place, I think within the first 2 weeks, I got invited to like a whiskey drinking event. And we'll leave that there.
Cigar and bourbon, yeah. Yeah, we were doing that. Yeah, it was fun.
It was fun. And like, that was what I wanted.
We stopped doing it because someone had a little too much one time.
I heard the wives got upset.
Everyone got in trouble on that one. And we were all out a little too late. And we had one individual just had way too much. And we all felt pretty bad for that.
I would like it to come back because like the wife is really happy with me like meeting a new group of guys and being able to get that.
Yeah, we'll bring it back. We're gonna bring. I want to bring back a lot of those.
We'll have guardrails.
We'll literally have a server because like the bourbon was free, guys, and there was no like yo this is my own personal collection. What are you doing? It's supposed to be a glass.
Taking advantage.
They were, but it's not all of it. It was good times. I'm thinking about doing a weekly lunch here.
We've had this conversation already. I kind of like the idea. I think maybe a monthly might be something, or weekly. I mean, it just depends on what you want to
come in as you want. It's a casual thing where we discuss life, and because we're starting to see some of our members really like on the lower side of things really start getting shaken by the economy. And I want to make sure that we're doing more than just like the brick and mortar is the brick and mortar. It's like the real estate's free. When people buy in, I want them to buy into, really to better themselves, to grow to the best of their possibility. And it's sometimes us sharing information from what we're hearing because it's one ecosystem. Correct. But sometimes you forget what it's like to make $24,000 a year, $36,000 a year as a young entrepreneur.
I'm not even going to say anything. It's
you know what I mean? Like, but that's still there, right? It's
I remember making my first 24, 36, and I was super excited and happy about that. I was also in middle school, and so like I realized what that benchmark looked like and where it needed to go in the future, and also understanding that when you go into these trends in the market, the best thing to do would have already been to organize your budget and your monthly expenses as low as possible.
And that's just financial literacy. People, that's why I want to do these lunches.
Yes, and I think that's
right because you can share that just like over the table information for people that just want to be there, and just like it's a little different than all the other spaces.
Well, people don't understand the concept of like when it's good times, that's the best time to organize your life.
Absolutely.
And to make sure that your expenses are as low as possible.
Yeah.
Because then once you start doing that, you can save more. So now you have that cushion that when things do hit the fan, you're not worrying. Because I got 6, 8 months, 9 months of finances in order already. Yeah. So that I can, I have a sucky quarter, but that doesn't mean I'm not paying my bills.
Yeah, this episode has kind of jumped around a lot. It's been a lot of fun.
Are we done?
No, we're not done yet. No. Well, we can be done, sure.
Okay.
No, we're not done yet. So
you didn't let me do my nice political comment, but it's
what's
fine.
your nice political comment?
Remember I was talking about before a button unpopped.
I'm really sorry.
It's fine.
Yeah.
So with the political thing, and we talked about the Expanse and everything else. So the main character is asked why she doesn't want to go run for office, and she's like, there are 2 reasons. 1, I like getting shit done, and 2, I like where my head is located, because that's what happens when you actually become a politician. 1, you almost accomplish nothing now. And 2, someone's after your head at all times. And I didn't want that. I don't want that as a lifestyle. I've seen it. I have plenty of friends in politics right now that are on Capitol Hill, in Tallahassee, in the mayor's office. I don't want that life. I don't want that constant, that poking of your day-to-day. I mean, I know someone that is dealing with a lot of stuff in D.C. right now. I'm actually going to go visit that individual in March just to go say hi and just like, look, I know it is what it is, but I'm giving you a hug anyways because at the end of the day, you're a brother in Christ. So it is what it is. But like it sucks. People's lives get destroyed or get manipulated to a point to where you lose your humanity. And that's why I don't want to be an elected official. I have no desire to. I will be the person in the background, and that's something that I fell into, was doing the political committees. Those financial reports is something that people needed to get done from their PACs, and like I was like, well, it's easy, and I realize I do numbers, so it's easy to do. It's you're just reconciling what's happening throughout the month, and you're making sure everything else, and that's been a really cool, fun niche that I fell into, is just doing political committees and seeing where the money is and seeing where the money isn't.
Wow. It's a fascinating thing. So again, what you do for work right now, you're like an investment banker type thing?
The easiest thing would be a private banker.
Private banker.
I'm a private banker to I have about 10 clients.
Okay.
That I'm a private banker to.
And what do your services include? Like, what do you do?
Whatever they need financially, I can accommodate for. So I have a client that is purchasing a $20 million complex in DC, and which means that we're going to need financial statements. We're going to need all this paperwork to get all that done. If you're going to buy something for $20 million, odds are you are not in the minutia of what's happening day to day. I can get all that stuff done. I'm really good friends with the bankers, and so I can get all that information. I know what I literally know where his daily balance is at the moment. And so because of that, I can answer almost everything on the paperwork that needs to get done. I'll be on the phone with him. We'll make sure everything's done correctly, and then we'll submit it to the bank so that he's able to go forward to do the purchase and get the loan and everything else. That's something I do all the time. When someone wants to buy something else, they need the personal financial statements done. I have those 10 clients. I'm on a weekly basis where I update their financials because it's always fluctuating.
Mm-hmm.
And because
I do that every single Wednesday. We actually just did it this morning.
Yeah, so how complicated it can become, but how necessary it is.
You have to have your infrastructure. You have to do it every single day.
It is, yes.
I mean, every single week. Yeah. You gotta keep up on it every week.
Yeah, so
I know where you're at.
So that's one client. I have another client. He's in Brazil right now because he wants to buy a few businesses, and like the concept of buying an American buying Brazilian businesses is already complicated enough, which means you have to flow it through Delaware because it's the easiest one to do international, and to ensure that the currencies are done correctly, you have to have a law firm set up and everything else so that the money can go through those exchanges. Like, I know how to do all that. So an individual's not going to want to do that. They're going to want to hire someone that already knows how to do all that. So that's the kind of stuff I'm doing. I got a call today from your favorite individual that he needs a pro forma for the Miami properties. And so, because they want to do something with Banco Popular down there. Okay, give me a few hours, now even more because I'm here, and I'll build out the pro forma so then it looks good and it's appropriate, and because we just got new tenants and everything else, so now the pro forma has changed, and the bank is going to do whatever he needs to do financially with the new pro forma, and so that's what I get paid for.
That's awesome, man. Well, we need to sit down because that's we do so much similar things within our company, constantly running pro formas and financial projections, all the above. It may be one of those things. It'd be great to maybe to work with you.
It's fun.
You'd probably enjoy working with us because we're probably a little bit more organized than what you're used to in some facet. Like, you're not going to get a box full of receipts with us.
Why you got to bring that up?
I don't, because I've seen it before. It's just a little old school. Like, we're all about efficiency.
It's not that I wanted that to happen. I just happened to have a client drop off a box of receipts.
Dude, I walk in and you're like, you book an entire private meeting room for 12 people for yourself, and all of this. I was
my gosh!
I'm just gonna shut this door. This poor guy. Hey, get him something like he's gonna work a late night. Let's just make sure this is safe for him.
Forever.
I know it did.
And it's just once you only gotta do it once, and then it doesn't have to happen again. But like, these guys are like worth millions. The more they're worth, the worse it is. I've come to that realization.
That's pretty accurate. I've watched that, and that's why I started building in my infrastructure now within my team and my guys, but it's costly, when you're growing.
Oh no, I charge these people a ton of money to do what I do. You want a pro forma in less than 12 hours? I'm gonna charge you something. Oh, you want an entire year's financials done in 5 hours? That's fine. I'm gonna charge you like $4,000 for it.
Yeah,
you're making me, and it won't get done in 4 hours. It's almost impossible. You want me to do all this in less than a day for something that has to get done tomorrow, which I've been telling you to do for months now, which we could have easily done for like a few $100s a month. But now you want it done all at once. It's going to cost you. It's going to cost you a whole day. And if you want my whole day, it's going to cost you like $4,000 or $5,000. It's just, it is what it is. I know exactly what you need, and you won't be able to produce this on your own. No one knows how complicated your system is. I know because I've been involved in this for a little bit. You don't even know where your taxes are. Like, that's the kind of conversations I've had.
So you work with like high net worth guys that are just really good entrepreneurs.
Oh, they're great entrepreneurs.
Really good creative, those business guys. They've obviously done really well for themselves. Yes. But like every entrepreneur, or not every entrepreneur, like so many entrepreneurs, I'm a very, 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 very good creative and implementer, and when it comes to like vision. But I mean, I got Brian. He's like, he does like all my grunt stuff, my implementation of like, he's in the office right now doing our software implementation of this system I created for our team. That's awesome now because I can look on a high level and see that, we were 33.3% of our goal for this. We were 80% of our goal for this. And it's just like my KPIs are 30 seconds, but it took 6 months to build it. And people just don't ever realize like the detail it takes to build something like that. So you could actually be accurate and fast.
Oh yeah, I have a medical device individual that did almost $500,000 in January, and the one question I asked, okay, do you have a spreadsheet where all those clients and contracts are? Nope.
CRMs, man.
Nope, he has nothing.
Of course not.
And like, so then how did you keep track of it? Like I would remember, and like I get an email from like someone, and like that's how I would remember.
That's why I'm thinking about creating like a mastermind course just to teach this type of stuff and put these type of implementations.
You'll understand this concept because you come from the church world. You have a creator, and then you have an admin, and you can never put two creators together because it just won't work.
You have to have the implementer.
They're gonna have great ideas, but nothing's ever gonna get done.
Yeah,
and that's the problem. That's what we saw at Bay Hope, is that we realized that if we were going to have a director that was going to be creative, we had to have someone that was an admin to make that work. And that's what we implemented around the entire church. So now we have the college minister, great creative individual, has an admin, like literally has an admin woman. And when I say admin, I don't mean like a secretary. I mean like someone that actually will get the work done. Because he comes up with great ideas and everything else, but he doesn't know how to implement it.
Execution's everything.
Yes.
Well, you have to have self-control. I talk about this all the time. It's really a concept that, from Good to Great, I love Jim Collins. Oh, yeah. I love Jim Collins, his work on Good to Great, and so many of his other books are awesome. But one of the great takeaway is a disciplined person with disciplined thought and disciplined actions. Rigorous routine is what actually creates momentum of high-level impact for long periods of time. That's beyond the individual, that can run multi-generation, that can run... Correct. 150-year company that's still going strong with innovation, right? And it's so fascinating when you start beginning to struggle with this, and sometimes you can compare yourself real quick and be like, man, I've been doing this for a year now, and I just feel like I just made a dent. And you're like, yeah, it's a year, but where you're at, look where if you can sustain it, maybe 10 years, 20 years, 50 years, 100 years, right? You're dead at that point in time, but what you created is still making impact in people's lives, creating solutions for problems, being a company. And I think that's the beauty that I think's lost our generation.
Well, people don't understand what the idea of a legacy is.
Well, so many of my buddies are like, yo, I'm starting this, I'm going to exit in 5 years. Dope. Kill it. That's awesome. Right? Do that. But I want to be like kind of almost like I don't know, what do you call that? Like an anomaly that just goes, I want to create something that's long-standing and lasting. That's not just traded real quick. I want to acquire other companies that are trading real quick and be able to have that type of impact on people's lives. Because what we're talking about, we can kind of segue. Like, why did you join Crest in the first place?
It was pretty cheap, and so
yeah, that was the goal.
I'm kidding.
No, it was.
No, well, yeah. I told you already. The reason why I joined Crest was because
ruthless.
Something
cut the knees out of the market. That I don't need this. Let's charge this. And what's that guy charging? Yeah, I cut that in half.
It's fine. I'm just speaking.
I'm just kidding. Go ahead.
Just talk over me. It's
I will.
Not like I'm a guest or anything.
You're not. Yeah.
It's good to know. Anyways, so it was the culture. It was definitely the culture. It was the atmosphere that I really wanted. It was being very close to home. Parking is actually a thing.
It is a thing. I found that out last year.
It's become a thing. Like a lot of these networking places, or a lot of these co-working spaces don't have parking.
I didn't know that.
It's so rough. It's so rough out there right now. And it's just because they're in such ridiculous places, middle of downtown, somewhere in like an Ybor City. Like, these are just not the most cohesive places to park. And because of that, you're there for a show. So like, again, me walking in with like tennis shoes, shorts, and maybe an uncolored, discolored shirt, walking into one of the Hyde Park or the downtown places, I look like I'm just walking off the street. Yes, I want a laptop. I just want to do my work. And when you walk into some of those other places, it's like a runway show. People are so dolled up, and I'm like, this is ridiculous.
So culturally, describe. So you joined because of the culture.
Joined because of the culture.
Describe the culture to me, in your own words, how you perceive it. Because you are again, it was like nobody here.
There was people. Matt was here.
Yeah, I'm saying that it was like a hand. There's like 15 of us.
Correct.
You know,
the culture was more. It was very down to earth. It was very business oriented. Having conversations with people, talking about business is what I wanted.
Yeah,
I wanted to be in an area that I could talk business,
like deep conversations about business.
Not high level, not just scratching the surface. Like, okay, let's talk about our KPIs. Let's talk about inventory. Let's talk about what's going on with revenue. Let's talk about your pipeline. What's going on? And I'll pepper you also every once in a while. Like, how are we doing? How are you? And it's almost like, how are we doing?
Yeah,
I am getting no money for this. But I have already started seeing myself.
Me neither. Oh, man.
Bro, whatever.
No, seriously, I can't wait for this thing to stop asking me for money every month. It's like a kid that I didn't realize I was going to have this. Hey, I need another 15 grand, Dad.
How did you not think the business is like another child?
I know it's another child, but it's like, hey, I need this. So you got to start supporting yourself pretty soon, buddy. Yeah.
Problem is, it doesn't take, God willing, it doesn't take 18 years for us to get to this.
No.
In the Hispanic culture, it's like 35 years.
We'll sustain. Hopefully, I think this month is, it's going well. But it is pain. It's a painful thing to be a founder, to start something.
I know.
It is. But so I'm encouraged by that.
But it's the beauty of planting the seed, watering the seed, and then seeing it grow. Same way when it comes to us, ministering into individuals. Like, we get to, what stage are we with that? Business is kind of the same thing. Sometimes,
it's all principle based, yeah.
And so right there, I felt that it was necessary. And that,
so
and,
and
the personal connection.
Yeah.
That was exactly what I had been to others, I had worked at others, and it was just not my thing.
Yeah, you caught that almost like through the door. You're
immediately.
Like, this is kind of what I'm looking for.
Felt it.
You felt like at home almost.
Yeah, it was very comfortable. Lauren was very happy that I found something that I felt comfortable with.
Good.
Because she wanted me out of the house. And so
well, so what have you gotten out of this space that you weren't actually expecting to get out of this space?
Friends. I was not expecting to build the connections that I actually have built so far.
Yeah.
And I was very surprised, and business has come out of it, which is great.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's perfectly happy
You helping some of our interns here?
Girl.
Get teed up?
I almost stabbed them.
Did you? Bro, welcome to my world half the time. You're like, wait, where's your plan at? Give me your goals.
Oh, I wish it was that simple. Bro, where's your ID? You're going to a bank without an ID? Boo-boo. That's not how this works.
Did that really happen?
Yes.
Who did? No, never mind.
No,
we're not going to call that out.
That
I respect these guys too much. Oh, I know who did it. All I had to do was look over and figure it out.
I didn't say anything.
Of course you didn't say anything. No one said anything. I'm pretty creative when it comes to figuring stuff out.
I didn't say anything.
Dude, all right. Well, hey, that's where we're starting. That's like pulling back the veil a little bit, pulling back the layers, helping these young entrepreneurs.
I love that.
They don't understand, you don't want to go self-employed as like a sole proprietor or incorporated. You want to be an LLC with a sub-S election.
I don't understand why people think they need to
Did they do a sub-S elect?
They did the LLC, and they can do the sub-S
They need to do the sub-S election.
They can do that later. They're not generating enough to do anything.
But they should do it within the first year.
They can have 3 years to do it.
They should do it within the first year.
They have 3 years
I know,
to do
but they should do it in the first
year.
year.
There's no need to do it in the first
year. You're going to forget.
You want them to charge more? No, I'm the registered agent. I'm going to remind them every year.
All right. I didn't know you could do it in 3 years. I thought you had to do it within the first year of
3
filing.
years. You can do it in 3 years.
Because it's redacted, though. Don't you have to do like a redaction in the first?
It's within 3 years.
All right. Yeah.
Calm down.
I love corporate structure. I'm the weirdest entrepreneur. Like, let's structure this. Like,
oh my God, Utah and Delaware.
LPs.
Utah and Delaware.
No, and Nevada.
I don't like Nevada.
Nevada's good. Wyoming's good
They're
too.
changing. It's Wyoming, Utah, and Delaware.
Delaware's good for commercial real estate.
Nevada's starting to change its laws, so it's going to be a lot. You're going to be able to actually see the ownership and everything else.
You're going to be a good call back.
I don't want to deal with that.
No, man. No, Delaware's the best. I got a lot of buddies of Delaware basis. Florida's structure. I don't have anything outside of Florida, but Florida's structure was really based off of Delaware's.
Yes.
And I'm not really doing anything super shady.
That's the thing.
At all. Actually, zero shade. I'm not doing anything shady.
No, you're not. Florida, I checked already. Florida is really... You don't think I do background checks on people?
Yeah. Oh. You could figure it out, though, huh?
I do background checks.
Yeah. Well, my background check's clean, and no one even knows what I do.
I was surprised that mine passed. I love how one of my clients asked if they could become a member. Did he ever? Of course not. He wasn't going to. That man was not going to pass a background check.
Oh, we haven't followed up with him. I'd accept him though.
Don't follow up with him. No.
No comment, man. I thought he was a cool guy. And that's I wouldn't be where I am without my wife, man. I found out years later I had such a good retention for people who were rebooking me for shows, because like I just thought I was that good, and I found out she was personally sending thank you cards.
Look at that Southern in her.
To every venue.
Oh my gosh.
And just left a great impression. My wife, I was like, man, the follow through. Wow, I really just thought I was that good.
So my wife has a thing. She doesn't judge the man. She judges the wife.
Really?
So she's like, depending on what the wife is how I will judge the man, the politician.
Interesting.
The leader, whatever. Because she's like, that is a absolute representation.
Yeah.
Of that individual. That is not being projected.
Yeah.
So she's done a great job.
My wife's a rock star, man. Like I'd just try to give her just a platform and support her in anything that she wants to do, you know, and just because she's a beast. She's just a mom of 4. She puts up with me and all my shenanigans as an entrepreneur. Hey, I'm going to do this now. Hey, I'm going to buy this. What do you think? Like, I showed up with a concrete ping pong table last night to the house.
And you didn't tell her ahead of time?
Of course not. Yeah, this is a common thing in my life. This is a great idea. I'm gonna have so much fun with my kids on this, and it breaks as soon as I get there. And she's learned to not do the "I told you so" type thing. She's so kind. She goes, "I am so sorry." I said, "It's okay. I'm gonna fix this. I'm really sorry for bringing this home." And she was irritated. She's like, "These corners are gonna be very hard." And our kids, it's in the backyard, just outdoor ping pong.
Them running around. Oh man,
man,
so many gouged eyes.
No. It was a little overreaction, but she's just used to me now as an entrepreneur.
I tell people all the time, my wife, I wanted a champion. I wanted someone that could go to battle with me, and that's what I was looking for when it came to finding my wife. And something that I prayed about a lot before. I purposely did not get married for a very long time, and not because there wasn't people out there that I could have gotten married to, but I knew after talking to God a little bit, I knew that wasn't the one. And because of that, that really pushed me in directions that to be able to find my wife, that we actually had been going to the same church, just different services for the longest time. And we found out that we were going to the same concerts. Like we were in each other's lives without knowing we were in each other's lives. And that's exactly what I wanted. I wanted someone that I could go into battle with. And I think that's who I found. That's who God gave me.
That's awesome. You should bring her by more.
No, that's all right.
No. Okay. That's between you and her.
Oh no, like she's perfectly happy that I have found a space.
Yeah,
so I don't have to be home.
This is your space. Because we are family
friendly. This is
my
man cave.
You know your wife is a part of your membership.
No, she knows this.
Okay,
already.
Good.
She has the whole house. Like she doesn't need to go somewhere else.
Yeah.
No, if she's on a call, then she'll tell me to leave and go to Crest.
Well, let's
She actually wants me to get the 24-hour thing.
You should.
No, we're not going to do that.
We could use
it. I'm not getting upcharged.
We could use it. It's not an upcharge. You want to become an upper room member?
No.
Bro, it's so dope
I don't need a desk.
It's not about the desk.
There's a reason why I sit where I sit. And you know this.
Yeah.
Yes.
I don't know, but let's talk offline about why.
Oh, now that's going to be private. Okay.
No, we're a little over. We're a little over. So I
thought you said this was like a 2-hour thing.
No, it's an hour. It's an hour.
Oh, it's 3 o'clock.
It's
okay.
3 already, bro. That's the whole point. We're 3:05.
This has been great.
Well, so there's one final question that, because like for me, I'm always trying to learn, and I really hope I can use this episode. We're gonna have to go back and look at this.
It's fine
with through a really good lens and be like,
you know
did the messaging get across the right way?
It makes sense that you would edit the Hispanic.
I'm not gonna edit this. It might just be for me and my boys.
It's
though.
Fine. It's fine.
You know?
Wow. So my time was.
You're one of my boys though. We can no. It's worth it.
I told you 2 people were gonna watch this.
Yeah, 2 people. Me and you.
Yeah.
And Ryan. No, so like the last thing is like one of our things that I'm constantly harping on with my team and the guys that we're helping grow and establish and just this space is beautiful failures. Our friend over here has won it twice. The Beautiful Failure Award. The last episode, he forgot to record the video again.
Don't call him out.
Yeah. And how many is that? 3 now? They're gonna find it.
I'm bad.
No, but we celebrate. Like we celebrate. I've won it. I need to win it sooner or later. If I'm not winning, I'm not trying. But the whole thing is like, if you're not failing, you're not trying, right? You either win or you learn. And that's the whole heartbeat. That's Henry Ford right there. So the last question is this, like, how am I, first off, as like a leader of this space and community, just failing, brutally failing, or not? What are things that we can grow in and do to impact at a higher level just people that are joining? What can we do better?
I feel that you guys are doing a pretty good job right now. I have noticed that there's a pattern differential on the wall that my OCD is really starting to kick in on it, but it's fine. I'll let you find it, and then we'll have to change the panels. However, there we go. Look at that. How did that happen?
I don't know. It's Daniel for you.
Number 4.
Beautiful
so
failure.
Right there, I found a failure. Yeah. I will say this. I think your engagement with the current group of people here, I think that's working very well. Maybe a little bit more communicative when it comes to like text messages and emails. I don't think I've had an email from Crest in a while. Maybe it's going to junk. I probably do.
Yeah, we gotta fix that.
Yeah,
we're trying to send more of those out.
And
so
then
us know.
I like the idea of a weekly. I think that would be interesting to see what the reaction would be.
Yeah.
Not even that. Like I think people like the idea, and I'm going to use this because I'm going to use it. It's like the BNI effect. People love joining a BNI to be in a group of people that are like-minded, that are career generating, like they want to do leads and everything else. People hate BNI because you got to pay a ridiculous amount. You can never skip one because it gets ridiculous because you get kicked out, and then you get kicked out of a group of people that you've been building relationships with, and then they don't want you to keep on giving that person referrals when they're already out of the organization. Like that, I still work with my BNI people that I worked with for 2-3 years, and even when I was like, I'm just done with BNI, I still referred, and they still referred to me, and then they got in trouble for it. Here, I think that weekly thing could become like our version of a BNI, or that of like referral master, something like that, dude. Because then you're put in a room with other entrepreneur people that are like-minded as you, that you can ask questions.
The heartbeat for that actually isn't for networking. It's more so, it's just it'll be members only.
Yeah.
But it'll be more so for market-facing activity, and that's why I'm having this conversation with you. Is we want to have daily intel groupings of market-facing activity, and I realize so many of our members aren't structured the way with wisdom, the way that we're structured. And so we're making pivots like pretty quickly, pretty rapidly, as we're addressing a freight train coming down, right, on the market. And it allows us to sustain and to not get crushed and to actually, live for another day, and to adapt and change however we need to. And my concern about the community that has now starting to create the startup community of entrepreneurs and teams and leaders that if we don't do something that is allowing people to catch market-facing activities at least once a week, that some of our members are really going to get hurt, and I don't want to see that happen. And that's kind of the heart behind it. Is like and then we can also kind of at the same time collect that intel, be like, all right, so this industry because there's such a diverse industry here. People and you can really start capturing money never leaves. It actually just transfers hands. And so maybe it's transferring this to the industry because like we're seeing, this industry right here just took a 30% hit. This one just took a 40% increase. It transferred there. Let's probably, hey, so-and-so, why don't you find a way to create a solution to support this industry? Yeah. Those type of things,
And you know this. You have a lot. In the beginning, it was a bunch of real estate guys that was here.
Well, that makes sense.
And that makes sense.
I know a couple of those guys somehow.
And so, but then now you have software engineers and you have data analysts and you have finance guys and like you have all this grouping of individuals that are now starting to expand. Yeah. And so now you probably have a pretty good like snapshot of what the economy looks like, at least in Tampa Bay.
If we actually talk to each other.
That's another thing.
That's the whole point. Like everyone.
So lunch I think would be perfect because the people that don't come here every day might come for the lunch. And that would be a great way to have that communication with individuals. Because you're pushing past 50 now of members,
I think we're probably at like, 55 or 56? I don't have that. I need to have that intel a little bit better.
Yeah. And so knowing that number and knowing where the categories of the companies
we're trying to be at 100 by April 1st.
That makes sense.
That's the goal.
That makes sense.
100 members, basically. Yeah. So
it makes sense. Now if you would
300 by the end of the year is our target. So.
Okay. Again, the more people hear about this, the more they're willing to look into it, the more they're willing to talk to someone. I sit where I sit so I can see what people are coming in and out, and I can have those conversations. And two, I feel like I've talked to more people that walk in that want to be a member, and then I don't get credit for it. But you know what? That's fine. That's perfectly fine.
You trying to get that free coffee?
Because I drink coffee. I don't drink coffee. It doesn't make any sense for me to have free coffee.
That's fun. That's awesome. We'll find out why you sit there again.
I just told you.
I know you
to
did.
see people.
I like that. That's awesome.
That's why upstairs doesn't make any sense for me.
So what are we able to do to get better?
To get better, I would love that little area that behind the patio to become like a gym.
That's what we're gonna do.
I think we're
gonna do that. I just gotta come up with more money to do that. I got another like $300,000 I gotta pump into this place.
We'll figure it out.
But yeah, I want to do a turf thing with like the overhang, like a fan, and do like an outdoor gym.
I think that would be the coolest thing.
That's what I want to do. I'm planning on it.
Because now what's happening with me is like I'm actually having to schedule time to go somewhere to go to the gym.
That's in the master plan to do that.
Yeah, no,
hands
that's a
down.
great idea.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Because then that keeps me here.
Yeah,
that's the whole point.
Yeah.
Did you just do this?
I did because that was dope.
Like we're 18 years old.
You know, I feel like I'm 18. No, I don't. I feel like I'm 41.
Your knee doesn't feel like
my knee does. You look at your metabolic age, and you're like, it says 41. And you're like, it's not good.
It's fine. Gasparilla was over this weekend. I felt like I was a teenager.
I did just do that, yeah.
Yeah, that's weird.
It is not weird.
It's weird.
All right. I think we're done. Do you have a website or anything? Or
I don't advertise my business.
Just chill. If you want to find an evil.
Have you met my clients?
Yes.
How do you think they find me?
Word of mouth.
Yes.
Hands down. You've heard of him.
No, you
Come
haven't.
to Crest to find him.
Nope.
Because I'm not going to give you his contact info.
Don't
But
call,
if you do
don't call me.
join, you can find his contact easily through the app.
If you get in trouble financially or legally, let's have a conversation.
That's not the facts. But
if you find yourself with a big windfall of money and you need to figure out how not to pay taxes on it, give me a call.
That might. Well,
if you win the lotto, those are the best clients. I've had 2 of them already. I've won the lotto, and like they don't know what to do next. And like I have an entire white paper of what to do with that.
Well, my main concern with lottery winners is that they're going to get taken advantage of. And they're going to lose it all.
They are the same. So people that win the lotto are in the same category of like artists and professional athletes.
Yeah, of course.
They are the number one individuals that get taken advantage of financially because they don't know any better.
They haven't had the time to learn the literacy.
And you don't have time. You are running at 1,000 miles an hour trying to figure it out. And so for my clients that I've won the lotto, I've only had 2 so far, just because it's so difficult to get them because the lawyers get them first and like suck out 30% right there. It's absolutely ridiculous how bad the lawyers are when it comes to lotto winners. But I've always had a great time with them, and my 2 clients are doing very, very well right now. And they didn't have to. In Florida, you don't have to submit the individual itself. You can either have a third party do it, or you can have like a lawyer do it, things like that. So you don't have to show your name or anything else. Because the moment people know you got money, the world's over.
Until you have the backbone to say no.
But those individuals also don't have that.
Yeah, that's something you learn. And we can end on that. One of my favorite ancient proverbs is wealth gathered little by little will increase. Wealth gathered quickly will dwindle. It's absolutely a fact. And, your net worth is tied to your network, your social capital. And I appreciate you taking the time to be on this show. I'm the only one that got coffee, but it's okay because we got coffee.
I don't drink coffee.
I know.
And you didn't offer me tea, so it's fine.
I did offer you tea.
No, we were talking about the mango that you guys don't have anymore.
I thought we offered it for you. It's implied.
I'm not doing.
It's implied.
This has been great. This kidnapping situation has been perfect.
Guys, this has been a very fun episode.
Which will never get aired.
It probably will be aired.
It won't.
I don't know what we're going to air out of it, but we're going to air something. No, thank you guys so much for tuning in to this episode of It's Not the Last.
The last. I'm killing it. Oh, look at
after this, I don't think I will have the permission to do this again.
I warned you.
I knew better. Yes. Thank you again, Anibal, for being my guest on this Let's Get Coffee podcast. It's been a pleasure to get coffee with you.
It's been a pleasure.
Cheers.
Drinking water with you. Drinking
water, hydrating. Again, check us out. Check out all of our socials, website. If you're in Tampa, come by. We're right in the heart of the city, and we're actually starting to look for other locations. By the way,
I'm excited for that.
Yeah, I've been doing a couple drive-bys. I got a couple off-market things I'm looking at, and so just again,
about the
it's gonna be fun. It's
Yeah,
gonna be
I
a
think
lot
so.
of fun to grow this thing, and for me, I'm really having the time of my life. I really am. Like, it's like, hey, this is a very much purpose driven, and we're not seeing any profits from it, but it's purpose driven.
It's getting there.
And I love seeing people grow. It's one of my favorite things, and I hope that I can continue to do this, especially as we expand into multi-location and thousands of members. I still want to have some level of a pulse to just impact people with just that next, like that 1%, just encouragement to just take it to that next level. So but I appreciate you becoming a friend. Right, that was probably one of my great takeaways. I love that. Like, I came for this, and I actually got a friend, like friends out of this. It's really cool to hear that. And I'm just really encouraged by everyone's responses of they came for, they got, and then just how we can grow. And how can we grow again? One more thing. Just remind me. I forgot. I'll go back and re-listen, I guess.
Well, now 3 people have listened to this.
Yeah.
Am I still on? Okay.
Yeah.
What was it we were talking about?
I don't know. I'll just go back and re-listen because I already forgot.
What was it?
Huh?
Oh, the gym.
Was that all it was? The outdoor gym?
it was the camaraderie, the building of the community, and the friends.
Doing more community stuff.
I think that will be necessary. I think that's a little bit necessary.
Yeah.
Almost, again, not building a BNI, but when I say BNI, you kind of know what I'm talking about. It's a group of people that are coming in for.
I'm not very familiar with BNI, but
it's a cult.
I've got
and
no, it's not.
It is.
I have a lot of friends
It's a
in
cult.
that. I don't think
cult.
it is.
It is a cult.
That's a harsh
You
word.
get kicked out if you don't attend.
That's phasing out of this episode.
Oh, look at that. We restarted. So I'm glad that I was a
Appreciate you guys so much.
It's always fun.
Have a great day.
I'm just going to stop. It's fine.